Welcome back to Let's Play Gran Turismo 5, Part 2, and in today's episode, I'm going to be beating the A licenses. Well, not beating them, but you know what I mean. Anyway, before we get started, I'm just going to show you all what I've done here. In the last episode was just the B license. I got most of them gold, not all of them. So, we're not going to bother wasting any more time, let's just go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start with A1, which is basically the same as B1, except this time it's 400 meters, so it's twice as long as the first test. This test did actually give me a little bit of trouble. It took me a couple tries, but I did eventually get gold on it. Funny thing is, actually right before when I was recording this part here, I actually forgotten to map my controls, so I was holding down the right trigger when I should have been holding down the X button, which I think in the last episode I said I was going to remap those before I did the next one, but I don't entirely remember. It's obviously been over a year since I recorded that last episode. Anyway, just getting off to a good launch here. This one, the main problem I had with this one was trying to find the right spot to brake. Although, with this clip, I did manage to get a good spot to brake there. Sometimes I'd overshoot it, sometimes I wouldn't brake enough. But that time, luckily, I did manage to get the gold on that one. That test was kind of annoying, but a lot of these future tests were significantly more annoying. A perfect example of a more annoying test is going to be this next test, A2. This is one of the tests I didn't manage to get gold on, although looking back at it, I actually got most of the tests in the A license gold. There were only 3 tests, this test and then 2 more tests that I haven't shown yet, that I didn't get gold on. And in the B license, it was 4 of them. It was B2, B5, B6, and B10, I think, that I didn't get gold on. Which was, I don't know, really interesting. Either the A license is easier or I'm just dumb, but who knows. Anyway, this was me turning the traction control down. I think I turned the traction control off and I adjusted my sensitivity a little bit after this attempt. When I was doing this attempt, and this attempt we're doing the Mazda Atenza, which I sold here as the Mazda 6. Although for some reason the international market version had different taillights because we got different taillights in the U.S. market. I don't really know. It was kind of strange. Anyway, this test was a massive pain. You can see my best time up there was a 27.386, and this time I got here was only slightly better than that. I don't know how anyone managed to get gold on this one, but I didn't, which is a shame. This one was a 27.378, so yeah, it was like barely better. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to the third test, A3, which is a cone slalom test, and this was the second test that I did not get gold on. In fact, I don't even think I really got all that close to getting gold on this test, I just wanted to get it over with, really. This test was annoying. You want to try and stay as close, and this one, all the assists are locked off. For this one, you really kind of want to stay as close to the cones as possible, but you obviously don't want to hit them because if you do, then that's an instant fail. This car handles fine. It probably would handle fine if I was using my wheel, but I wasn't. So, yeah, you can see my best time up there was a 28.38, I believe is what it was. This one was only slightly faster. I mean, it was a bit faster, it was about a 1/10 of a second faster. And on that first attempt, you might see it, I was losing control of the car like pretty badly. You can see with my ghost there. I probably could have gotten a better time if I had just gone straight instead of like turning out a little bit there, but I mean, it got me the fastest lap time, so who am I to really complain about it? Anyways, the good news is that now with these 3 tests done, we've done pretty much all the super annoying tests in the A license, and for the most part, it's pretty simple from this point on. This test was pretty easy, A4. It did take me a few tries. I think I got 2 completed runs. It's the that first chicane at Monza, which is actually a pretty simple corner. I've driven on Monza a lot. I drove on Monza a lot in the GT6 era. There is actually a very interesting way to cut laps off or cut time off of this, and you'll see it here. If you know, you know. So we're in this BMW 135i, I believe is what it is. My fastest lap was a 19.285, and what you want to do is you want to slow down. About, I believe you want to try and hit the brakes around that 100 mark, and then keep going through the corner, and then you can cut that there, and that cuts a ton of time off. If I had not done that, I probably would not have gotten gold on this test. So, was it a dirty way to get gold? Yes. Did I still get gold? Also yes. So, therefore, not really going to complain about it. So that test was pretty simple. I think that one took me 4 tries. First time was the ghost, then I overshot the going out on that second try, and then the first try I took the corner too soon and hit the concrete barrier. Why is it taking me so long to press the... Okay, there we go. Next test, A5. This was the only test in here that I got gold on my first try. Well, I did technically get gold on the first try on 2 more tests, but it was because I disqualified the first 2 times, so they didn't count. So, this one I got gold literally first try. This one was pretty simple. It's also very similar to A4 in the sense that you can kind of cut the corners a little bit. It won't fail you, and that can shave off some time, which, again, is a dirty way to save time, but again, still a way to save time. I forgot how long some of the loading screens were in GT5. Yeah, as you can see up there, I had no best lap, so this was my first attempt. Just kind of break there. You can cut that corner a little bit. And then this corner right here you can also cut. So, dirty, yes. Did it give me the gold? Again, yes it did. Alright, so now that we've done that test, we're now going to move on to the A6 test. And A6 is the first several corners at Trial Mountain. It's that set of undulating corners literally at the very beginning. This test is very similar to B2 in the sense that normally I can get them first try. This test, I could not get this first try for the life of me. It took me so many, I think a solid probably 10 minutes of just the raw footage from this was me just trying to do this test. This test was really annoying for unknown reasons. So I started off with like I think a 19.092, and then I slowly just started chipping off hundreds of seconds. Here I was at a 19.01. I did manage to get gold on this test after forever, but yeah. So you can basically go full throttle this whole way through here. Really, it should not be that difficult. I don't know. I think there might be something wrong with the controller. I don't think my controller is a manufacturer PS3 controller. It might be a knockoff. I'm not entirely sure. But I got gold on that test. So now we're going to move on to A7, which is the first dirt test. And we're doing it at Eiger Nord 1. And Eiger Nord 1 is in GT7. However, it's just the road version. Which, it's fine. I do like the dirt track, so I think I prefer the road track more. Especially this version. This is a very long dirt track. And I really like it. Although I think now Fisherman's Ranch, I believe that's what it's called, took its place. And we're going to be doing this test. This test did take me 1 try. Well, I got 1 completed run. It took me a couple tries because I kept disqualifying because I kept hitting the barriers because I was like turning either too soon or too late. So you start off like climbing up this mountain, which it's kind of slow, which is probably why the time limit for this test is so lenient. But so then it's kind of had like that embankment there. Then you want to brake, turn to that. I kept hitting those like yellow barriers, or I kept hitting the orange barriers to the left there, and then you basically just go full throttle this whole way down. And there you go. This test is very easy to get gold on. A lot of the earlier dirt tests are very easy to get gold on. I believe there's one in IC4. Knock on wood. That's also very easy. Although, because like I said, B2 and B2 and A6 are both very easy. And those took me several tries, and one of them I didn't even get gold on. Who knows? Also, we got level 6, so we can now do the IC license, because this game locks license tests behind levels for whatever reason. Anyways, we're now going to be moving on to A8, and this was the third test, and the last test, that I did not get gold on. Although I did get pretty close, I believe. I believe the gold requirement is like a 13.8. Yeah, 13.8. This one I only got like a 14.09, I want to say I got. Or 14.0. It's either 04 or 09. I guess I'll find out when I watch this. So this one you can kind of go full throttle through, although at this first corner you want to kind of ease off a little bit, because otherwise you will overshoot and you will go into the sand or the gravel there, which I did do several times while trying to get this test, while trying to get this time for this test, and even trying to get gold, which I didn't do. So okay, yeah, 14.04. I mean, really, I think that test could probably be done. Could probably have been gold. I probably could get gold on a future attempt. Alright, so with that done, we can now move on to the easiest tests, which are all the racing tests, because obviously passing cars is much easier than getting best lap times. We're going back to Fuji for A9, and it's going to be basically the same part of Fuji, except just being the last corner and that first straight. It's going to be the last corner, the first straight, and the first corner. And this one you really are just going to do, it's late braking, so I forgot to adjust any of my assist settings for this race, but it was fine. This race was really simple. I got this one in... Technically, I got it in one try because I got my first completed run was a gold, but I did get I did get disqualified twice before this. The first one was I hit one of the cars. Second one, I tried to cut inside. I ended up cutting two inside and ended up going off the track. So this one, you can't really slipstream here because the cars, I think, are a little bit more powerful than you are. So what you have to do is instead, while you're approaching that first corner, is you want to brake later than they do. Obviously, it's called late braking for a reason. So you just gotta and hit the brakes. Be careful. Make sure you don't hit them, because if you do, that will count as a disqualifier. But once you get to that corner, just basically go full throttle, and there you have it. Honestly, I have to say, I think the 9th tests are probably some of the easiest tests in the entire Gran Turismo series, because obviously it's just the passing cars. I think getting a gold on... It's basically impossible to not get gold on these 9 tests, except maybe the B9, which can be a little difficult, because I think the lead car is more powerful than you, and obviously you have to rely on slipstream. That one did give me a little bit of trouble. I had to do 2 tries for that one. Anyways, we're now moving on to A10, which is going to be the last test of the A license, and it's going to be 1 lap at high speed ring. We're going to be doing it in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 GSR. I feel weird saying Evolution 10. I always have just said Evolution X or Evo X. I don't know. Does anyone else do that where they say X instead of 10? That might just be me. I don't know. This test is very similar to B10, except the bronze requirement is now 7th instead of 9th. Honestly, I think this test was a little bit easier than B10 as well, because all the cars are not, they don't really group together as much, and this car is obviously, and it's, point is this test is just easier. And this also takes a while to load, because you're loading basically this whole track and 15 cars, because this is a 16 car race, if I remember correctly. Yes. Okay. So you do want to rely on slipstream here pretty heavily near the beginning. I also did do, I did drive a little bit aggressively in some later parts. You will definitely see that. So that Sylvia is probably the easiest to pass because it's way less powerful than you are. Just got to get around this RX-8. And you want to rely on some a little bit of a mix of slipstream and a little bit of aggressive driving. Maybe don't drive aggressively because that can risk getting a disqualifier. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get disqualified where I hit that wall there. So I'm very surprised I didn't get disqualified hitting that Evo 7 or 8 or 9. I don't know what it was. So you want to... So maybe don't drive super aggressively, but you do want to be a little bit aggressive. There I bumped that R33 Skyline and that 370Z. God, I'm just running into everything, aren't I? I don't even think I was doing this much aggressive driving in the B10. So luckily, once you get past all that whole crowd back there, it's pretty simple from this point on. Just get around these lead 3 cars. This test took me 3 tries. The first try I did not manage to get. I didn't manage to get around the lead car, which is I believe a A80 Supra. The third try I ended up losing control at the last corner and overcorrected and went into the wall. And obviously this was my 3rd try and I managed to get it here. As you can see, we've now gotten A10 gold. And the first 10th test gold, although hopefully it won't be the last. I really hope it won't be. But who knows? I haven't recorded ICI, BI, or the S license as of doing this. So, that's going to be all the A licenses. Got way more of these gold than the B licenses, and by way more, I mean 3 instead of 4 were not gold. And the announcer guy, I think that's what, I don't know. I actually cut off what he said there by just saying okay. Whoops. So we unlock a little bit more stuff. Amateur League, we unlock that. And then we get prize cars. We're going to be opening those, obviously. We get 2 of them. Would have gotten 3 if we had gotten all gold, but unfortunately we didn't. Well, I guess, yeah, then we got a trophy for completing the National A license. So, God, the loading times in this game were long. I always forget that. Anyways, for completing the National A license, we're going to be getting a, wait for it, Nissan MMR Cup car, a 2001. I think that generation of Micra / March, or whatever you want to call it, was not very attractive, if I'm being totally honest. And for getting our silver and the A license, we're going to be getting the Mazda Atenza Concept from 2001. Although honestly it looks very similar to the production version, I'm assuming it probably is just like a prototype. I'm not entirely sure. Or maybe there is a difference between the production version of that car and that concept version that we just got. Not entirely sure. Anyways, now we're going to go take a look at our cars that we got. So first up, we're going to look at the MMR Cup Car 01. This is a very interesting car to make a cup car out of, not going to lie. It doesn't make very much power either. It's not very attractive. And now, we're going to take a look at the Mazda Atenza Concept from 2001, which is painted in Fuoco Yellow. That's what it's painted in. I can't pronounce that. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully it won't be another year gap in between the A license and the IC license. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!